guess I'm going to hit go live. What is going on, Wolfpack Nation? Welcome to Victory Tuesday. All right. Normally we celebrate Victory Mondays, but we're coming a day late, but not $1 short. We got plenty to talk about today. We got like a lot of sports happening, and we're gonna kind of, as Leighton said before this, we're not gonna be able to do a full hour. We're gonna blitzkrieg this, hit all the highlights, and make sure you get enough of your fill for Tuffy Talk this week. So as usually, I am joined by my guy Leighton, Mr. Smith, as some people may call him. What's up, Leighton?
What up, Greg? Yep, nope. I'm just making it clear to everybody that I am starting a new campaign to extend Bill Belichick, give him a 20-year extension.
Lifetime. Well, he might not have 20 years.
$12 million a year. Well,
we'll call it lifetime.
True.
We'll call it lifetime.
Yes. That's right. That's right. So, but yes, I am loving what I'm seeing from Bill Belichick. I think UNC has got a deal for sure. Worth every penny. Home run higher for sure. So, yes, no, love it. Glad to be here.
Yeah. So we'll get into it. I was talking with one of my. I did not go to work yesterday, unfortunately, because as anyone that follows me on social media, I did have a little hiccup on my way home from Raleigh on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
As Leighton said, we're pretty sure that Chapel Hill put out a hit on me with a deer. So I hit a deer coming home Sunday night, what sucked and has completely destroyed my truck. So, we've had a good 19-year run, 200 some thousand miles, and we've seen a lot of wins and, well, we've seen a lot of losses too, but we will focus on the positive. But even that couldn't dampen my weekend, as NC State made it 5 in a row from the Baby Blues over in Carter Finley West. Leighton, sure. I think I saw a picture of you there. Did you make it out there?
Today's day and age with social media, if you can, make anything
Photoshop.
No, just it was from 2 years ago.
No, Photoshop. I hear there's some really good people over in Carolina that can Photoshop and do graphics really well.
That is true. Yeah. No, but I was wearing my Thayer Thomas shirt here, but I figured it probably wouldn't have as much of an impact. But I mean, at the end of the day, like the post was more about the fact that I was wearing the shirt once again.
Yeah.
It brought us the win.
Yeah.
And so didn't make it out.
Gotcha.
A little bit of a life update. I have a 1 month old as of yesterday. And so unfortunately, we've not been able to make it out to any games basically since the Campbell game. But I did actually come out and tailgate, Greg, for like an hour and a half before the sun went down, because once the sun went down, it got too cold for my 1 month old and my wife's liking. So, so we had to get back out of Dodge.
I saw I don't know. Did you see the NC State Athletic drop this week, or I think today, about tailgating, and Mama Smith was featured in that? Have you seen this
I
clip?
did.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, she
I
sent it to
figured
me.
you would.
Yeah.
I
No,
figured you would. I figured you would. But anyway, we
yeah.
won't bore the people with these details, but that was fun.
Shenanigans.
You speaking of Thayer Thomas, you had his shirt on. He was in the house on Saturday. I don't know if you saw the photos, but he was there, and Ricky Peter,
With Devin Leary.
Devin Leary was there, so they had the crew back, a little mini reunion. Yeah, but yeah, start to finish, NC State dominated this game. Really was never in question. State got out to a 14-0 lead, didn't really look back. Scored on like their first 4 or 5 drives of the game. Got a little trickery going on with a fake punt. We always talk about these games, and we always try to come up with a name for these games, right? And I think without a doubt, this is going to be the Will Wilson game. Would you agree with that statement?
Oh yeah, no, I think I heard it. I can't remember who said it, but everybody is talking about the Will reckoning, the Red Reckoning by Will, and how everybody's talking about the wrong Will instead of talking about Will Wade. People should talk more about Will Wilson. And so, yeah, no, I mean, 4 touchdowns, and because that's my thing too, Greg, and we'll kind of talk a little bit about what this game means for the season, for what it means for Coach Doeren. But the biggest thing I think for me is like the fact that NC State, because for the history, I would say over the last 10 to 15 years of the NC State UNC rivalry, pretty much whichever team has been able to run the ball more effectively has won the game. I would say almost every single time that's been almost the case. And in this case, it was no different. But I think also, too, that not only was it establishing the run and establishing the formula that has predominantly won these games in the Carolina NC State rivalry, but I also think as well the fact that just Carolina could not stop it. Carolina could not stop it. And also we were dominating so bad that we just said, you know what? We'll just let Will Wilson have his moment. We'll take CJ, keep him, out of harm's way of UNC doing some stupid crap. And, let Will Wilson have his spotlight. Yeah. And, it definitely was all that of a spotlight. And again, it was embarrassing because, like, as you and I have said before, Greg, running is a, run defense is a mentality. It's a forcing your will on your opponent and beating them on the line. And NC State was able to do that the entire night. And it kind of begged the question to me, Greg, is a lot of UNC people, a lot of college football people were saying, well, UNC has come out to be a really good defense. They played really well.
Yeah.
Is it just that maybe they've had maybe like a Mensa from Duke, not so great game, hasn't gone against maybe the best offenses? I don't know. I'm just sitting here saying, I mean, we wiped the floor with them and really kind of took our foot off the gas, there in the second half, and just kind of rode it out, and it was never really in doubt. So I don't know, just my 2 cents on it there. But it was definitely the Will Wilson game for sure.
Yeah, and you look at Carolina's going to get their due, the credit, whatever, for their defense. But when you look at the overall arching of their schedule, it was a fairly weak schedule to begin with. The three decent teams offensively that you faced. TCU put up 48, Duke put up 32, Wake put up 28, and Wake's offense isn't the best. Like, it's okay. And then we dropped 42 on them. So we hit them with the second most points that they gave up. Even with that schedule, they only finished 4-8 on the season, and have lost 5 in a row. 5 in a row, which has only happened was it the third time that this has happened in the series? I think either the second or third. I can't remember.
Yeah,
they did at the press conference.
Yeah, because last time was from 2007 to 2012, I believe.
Could be.
It was a lot, or 2008, 2012. Yeah, because it was the Mike Glennon years was the back end of that.
Right. And then the mid 80s, it happened the last time. And so right now, State's won 5 in a row, 8 of 10 and 9 of 12 overall in the series. So to say it's been a one-sided affair, it would be a understatement. But getting back to the game, you had 119 yards rushing from your 2 quarterbacks on 24 carries. CJ Bailey had 8 for 65, and then Will had 12 for 54. From your normal running backs, you only had 59 yards, so about half of that other total. But you ran as a team for 185 yards, which is a good day, and then you threw for another 201 from CJ. And looking at this season, and we'll talk about it, home and away, this team was vastly different. Now, we did have the one hiccup against Virginia Tech, but other than that, we go 6-1 at home. Now, you can make the argument that our most tough games were on the road. And so,
because everybody would highlight Virginia Tech and Duke. I mean, I know one NC State account page I won't call directly saying, well, if we had just beaten Virginia Tech and Duke, we would have made the ACC championship.
I'm not so sure about that because of all the tiebreakers, because we would have been lumped in there with that 6-2 type number. And you saw Duke got in over Miami, and they're already calling the ACC, or excuse me, Miami's AD, who used to be Clemson's AD, is already calling for a change in that formula. But by the way, the ADs and coaches all voted for this current formula. So if you didn't like it, you had a chance to fix it 2 years ago. So keep on walking with that nonsense.
But I would actually even say, not only yes, you could look at it as if you had beaten Virginia Tech, you had beaten Duke, you'd probably be in a good spot to make the ACC championship. Yeah, I mean, that's an easy way to go.
Yeah, Duke doesn't make it at that point, right?
If you've just gone undefeated, right, but it's an easy way to go. Like you're saying, well, if you go undefeated, guess what? You go to the championship, right? Well, sure, that's an easy way to go, and you could say that for anything. But honestly, I would make more of the comment saying, if that Virginia game was an ACC game, that would have made an interesting difference for sure.
It would have.
So, because then that would have really, because I mean, we didn't know at the time truly how good Virginia was,
right?
But I think that as the season had gone on, that maybe you're starting to realize, okay, maybe we're more in the driver's seat than we actually thought after beating Virginia. So, also another little nugget I would throw in there.
Yeah, and State ended up with one of the more difficult schedules in all of the country, and I think third overall in the ACC. So in order, for going 7-5, you're like, okay, because if you take in what Vegas said, 6.5, and so if you took the over, you obviously won on that. I'll ask you this, and then we'll kind of come back to the game real quick. Successful year or TBD, depending on the bowl game?
See, so for me, if we win a bowl game, definite success. You have to. You have to, in my opinion, because of the fact. I mean, let's talk about the highlights of the season. First of all, I'll start at the beginning of the season. That win over Virginia, that was a win for sure. I mean,
by the way, ECU had 8 wins.
ECU had 8 wins.
Wake Forest has 8 wins.
Well, but not only just how good Wake ended up being, but also the fact that, again, winning at Wake Forest for NC State fans has always been a lump in our side, always. And so not only just how good Wake Forest ended up being relatively, because they did have a pretty easy schedule, but still a good team that you beat, that you won at Winston-Salem. You beat Virginia, who is going to the ACC championship. You beat ECU, who, come to find out, was no slouch for sure. And then you got Doeren's highest ranked win in his tenure. You beat Florida State. Sure. I mean, for the NC State longtime fans, a win over Florida State is always going to be looked at as, a higher level because it's Florida State. Right. And then you dominated UNC, not just beat them, not just crushed them. You dominated them from beginning to end. Like you took out UNC fans' will to even care. Like they not only not care about this season, but care about future seasons. Just how many UNC fans have said, oh, forget it. And that's all because of how much we dominated, how much we made it clear to UNC. You are nowhere near us. You're paying a ton of money to be nowhere near us. And if you add in on top of that, a bowl win, which we haven't done since 2017. And the fact that also too, because for the people out there, the win total, you kind of mentioned, Greg, the preseason win total was set at 6.5, with the edge leaning towards the under 6.5. So Vegas was kind of leaning more towards us going 6-6. You finished 7-5. So you also add that in as well. And then I don't see how you can not say it was a successful season. Now, I know a lot of State fans might say, well, but you guys were just, just bagging on Doeren, having concerns and frustrated a few weeks ago. Sure. I mean, I think that with a 12-game football schedule, it's more fair to kind of go with the flows because there's only 12 games in the season.
Yeah.
So, but now that you've gotten more of the picture in the fact that you have beaten Georgia Tech, you beat Florida State, you dominated Carolina. I mean, yeah, I can sit here and say, you know what, after how the season ended up, I got to be overall pretty happy with the season, especially if you get a bowl win. But what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, a couple things for me. One, I was listening to an IPS call-in the other day, and I don't remember if it was the post game or when they announced that Doeren was coming back, which, that's a whole nother conversation in and of itself. But a guy, I've always thought about this, but I never really thought about it. It seems that Dave Doeren teams have their best games and their best performances in the month of November. Like it feels like we get stronger. It feels like the last few years, at least, we've come to a crossroads, and it's always in October, which is really interesting because this is where the caller brought up. That's the month where we usually only have one home game. We have a random bye, and we have 2 road games, right? And they've kind of been, more on the tougher side of the road games. And this year, again, everybody has injuries, but our first bye was so late into the season this year. I think it was week 7 or week 8 that we had our first bye.
Yeah.
And so you kind of add those factors, and again, not making excuses for any of the results. You still have to go out and perform, but it's a little bit more understandable. Like you can understand okay, this is where this team was at the moment, because if you looked and we don't know exactly, I don't know what the defense did differently from about the Notre Dame point on. And I know we had, actually, I'll say Pittsburgh. I'll say the Pittsburgh point. After that, we got really solid on defense, and I don't know if they changed schemes or if they just, got some guys healthy that we needed back, some kind of combination thereof. But the defense, you look at the last few games, in particular, Florida State and Carolina, those were good. Again, offenses. I know the opponent, but we did a really nice job out there. And then, we had that 3-game stretch in the middle where we kind of was like Notre Dame, Pitt, and Georgia Tech. But those teams aren't really any slouches. Pitt was ranked this week. We had so many games against ranked teams this year. It wasn't even funny. And then right now you have 3 games against teams in the top 25. And it's a tough schedule. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. And to go get 7-5, chance for 8 with a bowl win, that's right where the number we typically are at. 8-9 wins every year, with or without. Usually 8 wins, 9 wins without a bowl win. So getting a 8 win this year with a bowl win would be, a little different for us.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So, kind of looking at, what does this mean for Doeren going forward? And again, let us know in the comments what y'all think as well. Here, real quick, Rusty's comment there. I really thought they would run a trick play and have Will pass it. Yeah. I mean, I definitely thought that, especially that maybe that was the only thing you're missing, especially, that last drive he had. It just, you've been waiting all season for him to throw the ball. So you thought that maybe that would have been the time where, if it went bad, so be it, you're fine. But yeah, definitely was missing that. Andy's saying, anyone know about the mental state of the locker room for the VT game with DJ's daughter passing? I mean, that's something that I remind fans all the time, is at the end of the day, we have no idea. We are like all media people, for the most part, 90% at least is speculation. It's speculation. Nobody's truly in those locker rooms. Nobody's in the meeting rooms. Even media people don't get access, to practices anymore, for the most part. So it's just, it's all speculation. So yeah, I mean, in terms of how much did DJ Elliott's daughter passing have an effect, it definitely could have, but there's just unfortunately no way to know. So
agreed.
But
because I think they announced it that morning of the game, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
It Friday? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't remember if it was either that Friday or Saturday.
It was the morning.
Yeah, I thought it was too. Yeah.
So,
but again, I 2 points, and we kind of alluded to it at the beginning. How much North Carolina paid for that staff and those players to get those results, and NC State wasn't even nowhere close to those numbers for both the coach and the acquisition of talent. Second, again, take this for a grain of salt, but on one of the FSU podcasts, allegedly that team spent $24 million for that roster. $24 million to win 4 games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, and I know they had a nice little signature win at the beginning of the season, but honestly, it's like if you ever watch like diving or gymnastics, they throw away the high score and the low score. You know, it's kind of like one of those. Like you throw away that win. You know, again, I know it counts, but if you play that game now, Alabama's boat racing Florida State. It's not even close.
I've never seen a game like that where literally all of college football, every fan, every analyst has said that win has absolutely no effect on our thoughts of Florida State or Bama saying, well, they beat Bama or they lost to FSU. Like, no, it was a total fluke. 100% fluke.
They won. You can't take that away.
Yes.
But again,
sure.
So I just want to remind folks that yes, we are a 7-5 team, but if we had the resources and the staff that we have, that could look vastly different in a more positive factor. Not saying that it would automatically guarantee it because we just saw that, but you would think with the track record this team or this coaching staff and this program has, given the necessary resources, that you could see some more wins based off of that. And there's been graphs and diagrams and articles written about it that, State typically does more with less when it comes to the football, wins per dollars put into the program. State's usually on the higher end of those numbers. So when you look at the facilities, you look at, what we're putting in to these different programs, the return on investment is actually better than most people would probably like to admit. So yeah, and you heard on Sunday, they made the official announcement. Not that like I was surprised by it, because the only way that this wouldn't have been a thing is if Coach Doeren walked away on his own free will, which I don't know how many people are walking away from $12 to $15 million left on the table. Just like any coach, no coach is walking away from that unless they are just mentally burnt out, have health issues, family issues, whatever. Like those are typically the only reasons why a coach would walk away from money. So it really came to as no surprise that, Boo Corrigan came out and announced that, Dave Doeren will be returning for his 14th season. But I did like the caveat that he said that there will be more resources put towards the program. So obviously that probably means financial dollars. We'll see what the uptick is. We should get a little bump next year for a couple of things. One, that Brazil game will give us, 2 things. One, and we'll talk about the Brazil game here in a second, because all the official things were announced 2 days ago, I think it was. We'll get a bump in some NIL from what I understand, and we'll get bumped for, going to play the game. And then the third bump is those eyes on screen, because it's one of those first games of the season. And because now that they rate like the top 5 or 6 games of the season, you get like an extra kicker in your TV revenue share. That should also help us. So you take those kind of resources there, and then maybe be able to put some other things on top of that. And now you've got some money to play with to try to go out and make your roster a little better. What are your thoughts there, Leighton?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think that, let's put it this way. Like the Josh Pates, the, analysts out there who think that, playing in a game like that is an absolute joke. It's much more from kind of the high level fan view of it.
Sure.
But from a NC State University view,
business decision.
like, yeah, it's a total win-win. It's a business decision. Exactly. I mean, like the fact that Georgia Tech, willingly decided to give up their home game versus Georgia this past week to play at Mercedes Stadium and get paid. What was it? I think like $8 million, something like that. $10 million.
It was a good chunk of change. It's a good chunk of change.
Something like that, to give up their home game. Like, yeah, it's a win, because guess what? Even if they played at home, it was going to be a Georgia takeover anyway. So if Georgia's going to take over, I might as well get paid a crap ton of money for it and still only lose by a touchdown. So what a win-win. So,
right. And again, now in this day of you need money to be able to be successful. You need to find creative ways to create revenue stream, right? And one of the things that's being rumored out there is that there's states getting very close to giving naming rights to Carter Finley Stadium. So that's another way that you can generate money. Easy way to generate money. Going out and playing these games. Just anything to kind of bring in extra revenue streams in order to make yourself more successful on the field. And I know fans are going to, whine and cry and all of that. Look, either you whine and cry and just deal with it, or you get on board and support it, right? And you don't have to like it.
Well,
it's the new way of doing business.
It's not like it was a home game for us anyway. That's why it bugs me, though. Like it wasn't our home game that we gave up. It was Virginia's home game they gave up. So it's just like it probably only really affected maybe a couple hundred fans that would have made that trip. It's for NC State. Like, what was really what are you really losing? That's why I don't really understand.
Well, here's the thing: it would have cost us $200,000 to go play that game in Charlottesville. We're going to go get on the plus end of money because that you have to pay to get there, right? You have to load up the truck. You have to all your support staff, hotel rooms, like all that comes out of your money. UVA does not pay you to go up there to play them in a conference game,
right?
And so we're probably going to get several $1 million when it's all said and done out of this. Anywhere from $2 to $4 million would be my guess. You take that money and now you put it towards a roster, right? Or you put it towards a coaching staff or some their combination of. Anyway, let me bring in Carson real quick and kind of get his thoughts on this. We're just kind of talking about with Coach Doeren coming back and Boo Corrigan kind of saying that there would be some more resources allocated to football to make the program more successful. So just kind of give me your thoughts on everything.
Yeah, well, we saw it this week. We saw it this week with the State Farm logo on the field.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, just I wanted to kind of ask this question to kind of lead you into it, Carson, in terms of so Russ saying, is it unrealistic to really want a trophy in football? I want my son, 2022 grad and Gen Z Wolfpack Nation to experience it. This fan base is starving for it. Go Pack. So that kind of goes into, again, this conversation around Doeren. Which go ahead, Carson, please.
Yeah, I think this was a very Dave Doeren season, in the sense that he checked the 4 marks, right? He had a really good win in Georgia Tech, a really dumb loss that the fan base was not happy about in Virginia Tech. Yep. He beat Carolina and he went to a bowl game. That is the criteria for a Dave Doeren season. And when like we've seen with Georgia Tech, we've seen that this program can be at a big high when it's high. It's just a matter of consistency throughout the season. And I think the fan base sees that and is like, hey, why aren't we consistent? Why aren't we competing for an ACC championship? Doeren's been here for 13 years and we don't have anything to show for it. Now, I think that's the general thoughts of like Wolfpack fans that are my age. We really want to see a trophy, and we've seen that we can compete with the best of the ACC. And so I just think they want more consistencies throughout the entire season.
Yeah, just circling back, and we'll move on after this. Everyone's complaining that Duke and UVA are playing in an ACC championship game. And I will tell you that both programs have made substantial financial resources or financial improvements into their program. UVA just opened up a brand new football facility. It was either last year or this year that they opened up a beautiful football facility. They're doing upgrades to their stadium. All of those things, like you need to have those capital investments into your program, right? Like when was the last time you saw, like, I know we put a new scoreboard up in 23 and did the red lights and all of that stuff in 23, but that's really like the crux of what we've done. Now we've done a couple of little minor things to the Murphy Center. I know we've done a little bit of stuff to the weight room, and I know we put in that studio, but that was required by the ACC. So you need to do these types of things in order to attract recruits and then retain recruits. And then it's going to take it. Now it takes a financial investment on us, the fans. And I know a lot of fans don't want to hear that. A lot of fans still aren't on board with paying players. Like I get it, but you can't have your cake and eat it too. Either you put into it or you don't, and then you accept the results. Like, it's really hard when you're handcuffing your athletic department and expect, all of these results. And, you can't have a caviar appetite on a ramen budget. You just can't. You just can't.
Well, and I'll kind of throw in, kind of two pieces here. Is first of all, keep in mind, not only just what you have from an NIL budget compared to the rest of the ACC, but also even from a Doeren perspective, what you're paying him compared to the other coaches in the ACC as well. Like what you're getting from Doeren, which is over the last 6 years, he's had the second most ACC wins. He's won you 8 of the last 10 versus Carolina. That tells me that, as much as I hate to say, as much as it seems like kind of a bogus excuse, I think there's just a lot of luck involved. Just that things just have not, kind of fallen the way of like UVA, for example, went out and got a guy like Chandler Morris, and things have worked out really well for him. Now, I'm still going to stand by the fact that maybe next year without Chandler Morris, UVA kind of comes back down to earth a little bit,
We'll have to see.
But we'll see.
They bring in a replacement.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just more of just going off of what you've seen from Virginia so far compared to this season. That what's the biggest difference? And
look, I'll take it a step even further, even outside of the conference of ACC. Look at the SEC and Vanderbilt. They just flipped the number 1 recruit in the country at quarterback, right? 4 years ago, 5 years ago, that's not happening. Again, they put in investment into their coach. They just signed him to a 6-year extension. Like, they put a lot of money into their facilities. Again, if you want to compete, you have to pay to play. It's just that simple. I mean,
here's the best example. Here's the best example. Texas Tech. Look at what Texas Tech was 4 years ago compared to what Texas Tech is now.
Yeah. And you've seen a resurgence with Arizona State.
Yep.
There's examples out there that you don't have to be, a quote unquote football blue blood in order to get back into the game, but you have to make a commitment. But anyway, let's move on. Any other thoughts on the game? Carson, do you have anything that you kind of wanted to share your thoughts from the game? I mean, it was pretty much a domination. We kind of talked about, we talked about it being the Will Wilson game. Will Wilson game, if you're going to name it, name the game. Anything else from the game we kind of want to talk about?
Yeah. I thought CJ did a good job rushing as well as Will Wilson. But the running backs, I would have liked to see more holes open up for them. Hollywood was only 93 away from 1,000 yards on the season. So disappointed for him that he couldn't get that number. Hopefully he plays in the bowl game and can get that. But if he chooses not to, that's his decision.
Yeah.
I would be totally shocked though, Greg. I'll be totally shocked though, Greg, though, if he didn't. Like, I totally see him doing a thing where he comes in for the bowl game for like a quarter, he gets that 1,000 yards and then walks off. I just, being the fact that we have not gotten 1,000-yard rusher since, huge accomplishment for any college running back. I don't know. I just feel like, for him, especially with how competitive he is, with, how much he does love, the guys and his team and stuff like that. Because also too, as well, again, keep in mind when you get an accomplishment like that, not only does it give the hat off to obviously your performance, it gives a hat off to the offensive line as well. It's just like, we got this accomplishment, 1,000 yards. So, but again, we'll see. Time will tell here for sure.
Oh, and also, I just realized all of our big seniors on offense got touchdowns. Grimes and Jolie.
Yep. Yeah, Jolie tying a school record for most touchdown catches by a tight end in one season with 7 to match his jersey number. Two things that I'll tie up with the UNC game. One, I love that they went for it, a 2-point conversion and didn't get it, so we kept them under 20 points, which is a much nicer looking number at the score when you look at it, 42-19. And there's just the fact that we held them to 70 yards rushing. I thought the defensive line was really good. Got a lot of pressure, got 4 sacks in the game, which I'm 99% sure that was a season high for the team. They were constantly after the quarterback. Got some turnovers, couple one fumble, and then almost an interception. I thought Fordham had caught that ball, but yeah, just a really, really nice job by the defense in this game. We talked about it earlier, having a much better second half of the season. Couple quick notes. All ACC teams came out today with we had 3 people on the first team with Justin Jolie, Caden Fordham, and Hollywood Smothers. So that was nice. That was the first time, I think, since 2017 we had a first team all running back. So that was cool to see. Did we have anyone on second team?
Yeah. Let me see.
I know Nooncaster and
Newcastle and Peak were honorable mentions.
Yeah. Did we get anyone second or third time? Yeah, go ahead.
Like, yeah. Honestly, I just I saw the first team and then I saw that Peak got honorable mention. I was like,
yeah,
oh, get the heck out of here.
Yeah, that was kind of trash. Let me just look
mention
real quick. Any here?
Nope, that's it.
That was it. No second or third team.
Doesn't look like it. Nope. That's
it. Okay. Well, that's all right. Kind of get to Rusty's question out here, and then Michelle, we'll circle back to you real quick. Will Jolie play on Sundays? Absolutely. He's definitely in my book a top 3 round draft pick. Could be even better depending on how he does with all of his combines and pre-draft workouts. I think he could definitely move up into the draft. The one thing that his grade that came back that he needed to work on was blocking, and you saw multiple times during the season that he led the way with some really good blocking, especially on Saturday. He was leading blocker there for one of the touchdowns for Wilson. There's no doubt about it. And then we'll talk about this real quick before we move on to the next topic, and we'll move from football. Glad to see the quote from Noah Moss about the atmosphere at the game. So if anyone is trying to figure out what Michelle is talking about here, NC State did pick up a commit for today for the 2026 7. Is that right? 7? Yeah, it's 7. Noah Moss, a St. Michael's Academy player. And if anyone's like, St. Michael's Academy, where do I know that name from? That is Gunnar Rivers. And again, you're like, what do I know that name from? Yeah, everyone knows who that name is at this point. That is Gunnar Rivers, running back, and supposed roll dog or best friend, BFF, or his homie, or whatever the young kids call it these days. And he decommitted, I believe, yesterday from South Alabama, and quickly picked up a crystal ball for state, and then officially committed today on X to come and run with the Pack. So people are like, okay, well, what does that mean for Gunnar Rivers and NC State? Well, I will say this much: it's not going to hurt.
Yes.
There's some moving pieces. Auburn has changed head coaches. Alabama had picked up their quarterback, and then we were kind of like his top 3. Again, people can kind of swoop in and get some play there, but signs are pointing in the right direction that he could end up at state. So we'll again continue to monitor that and see what his timeline. I would assume his timeline will probably be sometime over the summer. Make sure that he's got what he wants. When I say summer, obviously next summer. Any thought? Oh, and in the comment, I didn't talk about that, but he and Gunnar had gone to a game at Auburn and thought, man, that was the place that they wanted to be. And I'm paraphrasing here, that they were completely blown away by the crowd and especially the student section. So great job, student section. That's why it's important for you guys to keep your butts in the seats all 4 quarters, because that right there, and it's been mentioned in the past, that does matter to recruits when they are coming to look at the Pack for either official or unofficial visits. Carson, kind of just give me your thoughts on Noah and their comment in general.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I think they chose a good game to come to see a crowd, particularly it being a night game. I think that definitely helped with it. I don't think they would have gotten I don't think they would have gotten the same atmosphere if it were a noon game.
Yeah, Campbell. Like that's the worst time you can recruit or entertain recruits. And I get it. Sometimes they have to come when they have availability. But yeah, it's definitely, if you're trying to recruit somebody, Saturday night in Carter Finley, and then you kind of sprinkle in Carolina on top of that. That's when you want to entertain people, and especially when you've been dominant. Leighton, kind of give me your thoughts real quick, and we'll move on.
Yeah, no, I mean, the biggest thing which just really stands out from that whole situation is how Duke, for example, was offering fans tickets to stand in the student section for like for free, actually, for literally free. But just they said, if you get one, we need you to honor it and show up. And same thing with Wake and things like that. So the fact that not only did we not have to do that, we packed that section on both sides, and they were rowdy the whole time. It just goes to show once again how Wolfpack Nation is just different. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, I went to Miami a few weeks ago, and granted, I only needed one ticket, and sometimes they're easier to get. But I sat on the 50-yard line, 15 rows up for $65. You're not getting that ticket in Carter Finley Stadium. You're not even against Campbell. Like it's just different. And I tell people, if people are like, you've been to a lot of the stadiums, like, what's your vibe? How do we compare to most? Look, I've only not been to Stanford, SMU, and Florida State. The only one I can imagine that would even top us would maybe be Florida State, but they've reduced their stadium. They're not the same Florida State. No. I don't care what anyone says. We're top 3, top 4 in the conference for stadium environment.
Absolutely. Easily.
I'm not even, there's a reason we have 27 in a row sellouts. Like it's a thing. Like it's a culture.
Let me ask Greg, and then we'll jump.
Yeah.
Besides Clemson, Virginia Tech, who else would be in the conversation with us?
Yeah, I mean, maybe you bring Louisville into it, but they don't have consistency. They're a very fair weather fan base, but that's a big stadium, and it can get loud. Really, that's it.
Agreed.
It's
that's it.
Yeah, so. And guess what? Of all those 3 stadiums, we're still smaller in capacity. Right at 50. We're 56.9, I believe, is the exact number. It is a loud 56.9. Like it's insane. The environment, and I encourage people go to games at other stadiums, and we are spoiled with everything that we have available to us from the tailgating. And I know that's gonna look different here in a few years, but the game day environment, like it's something different at Carter Finley. I promise you. I promise you. And
100%.
We just know what we're doing.
That's right.
All right. Moving on. I know, Leighton, you only have a few more minutes. Is there a topic you want to kind of jump into and give your 2 cents on?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, before I go, I got to give a shout out, first of all, to soccer. I mean, making it to Elite 8, huge shout out, a huge matchup coming up against Georgetown for sure. So at the end of the day, I'm sitting here saying, Mark Hubbard, you're playing with house money. Like, what a season so far it's been. But I mean, also this team is so good. I'm sitting here saying, hey, why not go win it all? They definitely could. They're good enough 100%. And so, go ahead.
And if they beat Georgetown, do you know where the Final Four in the championship game is being played?
I believe it's in a little town called Cary, North Carolina.
Yeah.
So that's the permanent home for the what do they call it? The College Cup, I think, is what they call it.
Yeah, both the men and the women as well.
Yeah.
But
go ahead.
Well, and then I just 2 other points here to give it, and then I'll let you guys pick up, talk about soccer here. Obviously with women's basketball was great to see Camille Pierre definitely answered the bell for sure finally and started to make her presence known. So huge shout out there. Men's basketball, yes, no doubt the Maui Invitational was a disappointment. We can't talk all we did and show up and only go 1 and 2 in the Maui Invitational. Just couldn't do that. But again, it's a long season. Like, this Auburn, like, hey, you win big against Auburn tomorrow, all is forgiven, in my opinion. Like, you go and beat Auburn at Auburn, that's huge. So no, but again, at the end of the day, long season ahead, big opportunity tomorrow against Auburn. Excited about soccer, excited about tennis, excited to get softball underway as well. It's going to be a great time. So
Yeah.
appreciate y'all, and do y'all have fun tonight? All right.
Yep. We'll circle back to soccer here as Leighton drops off. I don't know if you noticed, but like that game is up here in DC, and I thought about going to the game. I looked at the temperature. It's going to be 32 degrees and snowing. And so I was like,
it was cold the other night and it was raining.
Yeah. Did you go to the game by chance?
I was working the game, scanning tickets in. So I was watching it in the background, and then I got to watch the end of it, like the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, I know we scored a late goal there by Edwards, right? Phillips.
Yeah. And Tate Healy got the first goal like 5 minutes in, which was awesome. There were a lot of Greensboro people there as well.
Sure. Yeah, it's an easy drive over, hour and 15, hour and 20, depending on where you're coming from. Yeah, it's going to be a tough game up here. Georgetown's the number 10 national seed, where State's the number 15 national seed in the tournament. This isn't uncharted water for State from the perspective of coming up to DC during the playoffs here. We did beat them last year. I think it was 2-0, if I remember correctly. I'm trying to remember.
Yes. I think it was either 2-0 or 2-1.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, I was trying to remember.
It was a low scoring game.
It was. So we've done it before. It's definitely doable. You're gonna have to play one of your better games and play smart. But if State's able to pull it off on Friday, I believe it's Friday at 5:00. If I remember looking at it, and I seriously thought about
Friday
going
at 6.
Friday at 6. Okay, I knew it was either 5 or 6. I couldn't remember what the final time was on that. I just can't pull myself. I love NC State, but that's too damn cold, bro. Like 32 degrees and snow, and I've got better things I can do. Maybe if it was football, I probably definitely would be there, and I apologize. But yeah, it's gonna be
I've never played soccer in the snow, but I bet it's really weird kicking it around in there.
I feel like there's not really supposed to be much of accumulation from what I was looking at. Mostly just some flurries. But still, it's going to be, kicking a ball when it's cold and the air is different, and it'll probably be some wind, and so you're definitely going to have to play through the elements in order to advance down to the College Cup. But the Mark Hubbard got him fired up on Saturday with the Alpha Wolf, and so hopefully they keep that mojo going.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and shift over to basketball for a few minutes. We'll talk about Maui. Definitely, that Seton Hall game they played, they just got out-muscled, kind of outclassed a little bit. Seton Hall was very dominant, especially in the second half. It was a close game at halftime, and then Syracuse blew it out. Then you rebounded against gosh dang it, I just lost the train of thought of who they played.
Who was it? Yeah.
My gosh. All right, now I have to look it up. I should know this.
Boise State.
Yes, thank you.
And Boise State's not a bad team. Mountain West is pretty decent conference.
Yeah.
So good rebound win, and then Texas just could not miss.
They couldn't miss. They hit some shots. So you just hold on.
I don't know how many teams would have beaten Texas on that day if they would have shot like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Like we did a decent job switching at times, but then they just hit shots. I mean, again, you just have to tip your hat to that and kind of move on.
Yeah. I think Copeland and Matt Abel have still been playing really good defense.
Yeah, sorry. I'm trying to find my cord. I'm sitting on it, and I have to charge my laptop. Here we go. All right, cool. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, Matt Abel kind of, I think it was in game 2, kind of struggled a little bit defensively. But I thought, in the game 3, he played well. Lubin played very well. I think he had like 20 something in one of the games.
Yeah. My thing with Lubin is like he can score, but he has to get better at actually protecting the ball in the middle, because there have been a lot of bad turnovers from him.
Yeah, and I think it was the Boise State game? One of the games, Darion Williams just didn't really show up. Like, not that he didn't show up, but that he just didn't like get really flowing into the game. And I don't know if that was credit to the defense kind of taking him out, or maybe he just didn't look for his shot and was trying to facilitate more to his teammates. But you definitely need him. I think we see here. I'm just pulling up stats real quick.
He's the preseason ACC Player of the Year.
Yeah,
you need him to play better.
Yeah, Boise State. He had 16. Was it Seton Hall? 12. Yeah, it was the Seton Hall game. He only had 12. You need 8 to 10 more points. And guess what? If you get 8 to 10 more points from him in that game, you're tired of winning that game.
And also, we missed a lot of free throws against Seton Hall.
We did. Let me see here. The free throws, 16 of 22. So there's 6 points, right? So if you make 3 or 4 extra free throws and Darion Williams gets you another 8 points, you're probably winning that game, right? So again, sometimes it's just not your night. We really got killed on the points in the paint, I believe, was that game. Yeah, 40 to 26. We got killed in that one.
We played a lot better in one of the other games.
Yeah, Boise State. Yeah, well, even we did really good against Texas and kind of took.
Yeah, Texas just couldn't miss.
Right. They didn't need the inside game on that one. They were lighting it up from 3. I think the one dude had like a career high in 3-pointers. I think they made like 12 3-pointers in that game. I think actually it was more than that. Let me see. Team stats. Texas. 16. They made 16. They shot 50% from 3. Like,
I think they about broke the record, like, for most threes made against us. I saw one of the stats.
Yeah. And then we missed 8 free throws in that game. You lose by 5. Again.
Yeah, free throw shooting has to be better.
Yeah, as a whole. You shot 53% from the game. That's, you'll take that. Most nights you shoot 53%, you're going to win games. So you could have easily won both of those games, had you done a few things here and there. It's not all doom and gloom. The first net ranking came out either yesterday or today. State came in at 40. So you've got a little work to do. That would most likely put you in. Might put you in at 40. You're potentially looking at a last 4 bye. If that kind of holds tight, depending on how the other conferences play out. But we need to win some of these non-conference games before ACC gets started, right? And so we have go ahead.
We gotta be either Auburn or Kansas, if not both.
Yes, and Auburn comes in at number 20
or Ole Miss. Ole Miss would.
Yeah, Ole Miss. Yeah, because the Ole Miss game, even though it's near Raleigh, it's going to be a quad 1 game, being a neutral floor. I'm thinking you need at least 2 out of 3 from those.
I think if you don't get 2 out of 3, you are going to need to completely run the table in the ACC.
Right. Yeah, so this week, tomorrow on the 3rd of December, you're playing number 20 in the country in Auburn at Auburn. And then you'll have Kansas come into town on the 13th. They're currently number 21 in the country. And then you'll have that neutral court game, or neutral floor game, I guess is how they say it, against Ole Miss. Ole Miss is not ranked, but they're sitting at 5-2, just like State is currently. So I would say at least 2 out of 3. If you sweep all of those, you're sitting in really good shape come Selection Sunday, as long as you handle your business inside the conference.
Yeah.
So plenty of season left. People don't need to jump off the Will Wade Red Reckoning. That's a lot of double letters in there. Red Reckoning bandwagon train, whatever you want to call it. So just folks, just take a breath. Tons of games to still be played, but
It's college basketball.
It is.
You're gonna lose sometimes unless you're
Yeah.
the Kentucky team from 10 years ago that
Sure.
had Devin Booker and Karl Anthony Towns on it. But
yeah, and I think
that's
fans,
just the reality of it.
Yeah, 100%. I think the fans' biggest gripe right now is you haven't beat anybody, quote unquote, right? Like you had a nice VCU win. They beat Virginia Tech, I think, or who did they just beat? VCU beat a decent team the other day. Let me see if I can figure out who they beat, because I think they won a tournament that they were playing in. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. They beat lost to Vanderbilt, but they did beat Virginia Tech. I was right. Yeah, they beat Virginia Tech by like almost 20. So that kind of gives you like, okay, where are we at type deal on the same playing surface as Virginia Tech. Any other thoughts on men's basketball? We'll hop over to women's basketball real quick, and then we'll wrap it.
Yeah, I want to see some more of Terrence Arsenault. I thought he played really good against Boise State.
Yeah, I believe he.
It's just a matter of whether he's healthy.
Correct,
because he had to sit out a couple games.
Yeah, I think he had the Achilles issue, and then I think he was sick on the way out to Maui as well. I know someone was sick on the way out to Maui and had to ride separately than the team, and I think it was Arsenault that rode with Boo on the plane out to Hawaii. I think he came out a day later. So there's that. But yeah, there's lots of pieces. We just kind of need to, figure out how they all fit. I thought you got a nice couple of games from Allen Breed. I think he showed some signs, with him coming back from his injury.
I think that was intentional.
Yeah.
I think that was intentional. Coach White sort of letting him ease on into the season.
Yeah, agreed. You have pieces there. You just kind of now just need to fit them in and let them work, or let them cook, as the kids like to say now. Let's talk about women's basketball a little bit. They got a big one tomorrow as well, but they went down to Mexico, Cancun, and won all 3 games.
I think it was just 2.
It was just 2. Sorry, I'm looking at that now. Beating Green Bay 79-67, and then just absolutely destroying Southern Miss 110-56. Before they went down, they had I don't know, like I feel like it's a bad loss to Rhode Island. I know they're a decent team, but that's a team that you need to beat on your home court.
Yeah.
68-63. Just kind of, again, what's happened to State in their losses is they've just had disastrous fourth quarters, losing,
and they can't shoot.
And they can't shoot.
Like you can't expect to win when you're shooting 34%.
Right. They're a team that if they're not winning, I know this sounds kind of cliche, that they're not going to shoot their way back into most games, right? Like they need to hit high percentage shots. They can't really shoot from the outside as of right now, at least not consistently. And they just got to kind of figure things out again. Maybe they got right a little bit going down to Mexico. Maybe get some good team bonding. Won a couple of games. We'll see how that translates tomorrow when they have a massive game against number 9 Oklahoma, who's 7-1. And that game's part of the ACC SEC Women's Challenge, whereas the men's game will be down in Auburn. And that's also part of the ACC SEC Challenge. I will be going down to Auburn tomorrow for that game. So that should be fun. Hopefully it's kind of neat going to different arenas like that.
You got to take a trip to Buc-ee's while you're down there.
Like Buc-ee's, the gas station?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've been there. I've been to Buc-ee's. You've been to one, you've been to a mall.
Yeah.
I didn't realize they had one there in Auburn.
Oh yeah, we went to, when we were on our way to Destin 2 years ago, we went through Auburn and we stopped there.
Got you. Yeah. I've been to the Buc-ee's at basically the South Carolina, North Carolina line there on 95, and then they're actually
there as well.
They're building one in Mebane, so not too
which
far.
which is sort of near like Burlington area.
Yes, correct. And then Mebane is actually where Leighton lives. and then they're building one about 20 minutes from where I live down here or up here in Stafford, Virginia. So they are going buck wild. Haha, padooch. Anyway, yeah. So big game tomorrow for the ladies against Oklahoma, who is 7-1. I'm just kind of seeing who they've kind of beat. They did beat Florida State, so another ACC, 191. Other than that, really haven't played anyone.
They lose to? Oh, they lost to UCLA. That's nothing to be ashamed about.
Yeah, I hear UCLA is pretty good. But yeah, other than that, they really haven't played much of competition. They've played Western Carolina. They played North Alabama. They played Coppin State. Coppin State. And then ETAM. What is that? East Texas. Oh, geez, East Texas. Yeah, so, yeah. But yeah, they're number 9 in the country. So we'll see. We'll see when the one in Saraville is true. I think it's the largest now. Every time they build a new Buc-ee's, the next one is the largest. So eventually, I don't know how big that thing's gonna get. But back on topic. I'm genuinely curious to see if the women are back to where they need to be. Tomorrow will be a good litmus test, and to see kind of how this team's going to look moving forward. Kind of just give me your thoughts on a road trip out to Norman, Oklahoma.
Yeah, should be good. Should be a good test. This team's already faced teams like Tennessee and Southern Cal,
TCU.
TCU. This will be their first playing those teams on the road.
True road game. True road game. Yeah. Everything else has been neutral site, except TCU. That was a home game.
Yeah, 1 and 2 in ranked games so far. So I expect Westmore to be hungry.
Yeah, agreed. That game will tip at 7:15. So as soon as the women's game is over, you can go right to the men's game. So you have a double header for basketball tomorrow. The men's game will tip at 9:15 Eastern Standard, 8:15 in Alabama, and then 6:15 for the Oklahoma time, since they're an hour behind as well in Norman. Yeah, so it should be a good night for college basketball tomorrow. Hopefully we can come out 2-0. If you believe the matchup predictor for the women's game, they're giving State a 23.6% chance to win that game. And then as far as the men go, the predictor is telling me that State has a 28.4% chance to win the game. So looks like the big guy we got to take care of tomorrow is Keyshawn Hall, who's a forward. He's averaging almost 21 points a game. So we will have our hands full with him. Who else are we looking at here as far as Auburn? Let's see.
Keyshawn Hall also leads their team in rebounds with 9 a game.
9 a game, yeah. And he's third on the team in assists with 2.1. Technically tied for second, I guess. Also, Pettiford, their guards, averaging 15. And then there's another Keyshawn Murphy. He's averaging 11.8. So they have 3 guys in double figures scoring-wise. And then they have a Kevin Overton who's just outside of double digits at 9.8. So they're a pretty effective scoring team. State, let's see, how are we looking as far? I think we're probably 5 guys. Let's see, 2, 4, 5 guys at double digits with Darion Williams, Paul McNeil Jr., Kadir Copeland, Van Allen Lubin, and Trey Holloman all over 11 points or better. And then you have Matt Abel at 9.6. So almost 6 guys in double digits. And, a little bit, look, we scored 97 points. Like, this team is still putting up a lot of points, even against good teams. I think we put up 74 against Seton Hall. So scoring hasn't been the problem. It's been the defense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The shooting hasn't been the issue, unlike the women. Really State's biggest thing is giving up the threes. And, and you listen to Will Wade's press conference a couple weeks ago. He's really not too concerned about it. It's the type of threes that they give up is what he becomes more concerned about. And let's see. What did you know what I want to check actually is what does Auburn shoot from 3, right? I think that's a key stat for me personally. They shoot as a team, they shoot 32.8%. So that should be and they have does it say how many threes they made? No, it doesn't right here. But look, 32%, okay. Hopefully they stay around that. If they stay around that or lower, I really like our chances to win the game. But yeah, their forwards, 2 of their forwards average over almost 12 points or better. And so we're going to have to, I think this is one of those games where we're going to have to be smart. One of the things I noticed too out in Maui, we're getting in a lot of foul trouble. That's something.
Yeah, that happened. Like I think we had 10 fouls with like 12 minutes left in one of the halves. I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah, it was very lopsided, the officiating in that Texas game. Like it kind of caught up a little bit on the second half and the back end of the second half. But it just felt like we just got whistled for everything. I mean, everything. It was like shades of last year under Kevin Keats, like where we would just foul, like felt like almost every possession. So I think we definitely have to do a better job at that, limiting our fouls or, foul strategically. But that's pretty much all I had for tonight, my friend. Anything you got? Last parting comments?
Softball schedule dropped earlier, so definitely check that out with Fag Nation.
It did. I'll have to see. I owe them games and having season tickets for baseball and hitting some baseball road trips. Look, if they could just tweak those times sometimes, I could get to like a baseball.
The first series is at home against LSU, so Coach Leftwich's old team.
Yeah, that's true. Is that at home? Is that like a Wolfpack Invitational? I thought it looked like
I thought it was at home. Hang on. It was covered in red. I'll have to double check.
Yeah.
Then again, Carolina was also covered in red, and we played away last year.
We sure did. Let's see. NC State softball. Schedules right here. No, it looks like a neutral site. Yeah. That's it's the Tiger Classic. It's actually in Louisiana. Yeah, it's in Baton Rouge.
So you're playing Coach Leftwich's old team, which
you are. Cool. Yeah, you are. That's cool. Maybe they'll return the favor next year or something like that. Maybe we can get like one of those like kind of home and home series. Yeah, so we'll play in the Shriners Children's Clearwater Invitational right after that. So I guess we'll come home for a couple of days and then head back down to Clearwater, Florida. I feel like they played in that last year, or they played in like Clearwater last year, the year before. So yeah, there's a couple of tournaments that they play in. Really,
they play Arizona State.
They do play Arizona State at home,
which is
just a single game.
That's like in the middle of ACC season as well, which is weird.
That's weird. Like I would. All right, now I'm genuinely curious. Is like, what is Arizona State's got to be playing some other people here, right? Like they're not coming here just to play one game and then going back to Arizona.
Arizona State's a solid softball program, I think.
They are.
I know they're historically a solid baseball program.
Oh yeah, that's where Barry Bonds went to school at. All right, let me just see, and then we'll close on this because I am genuinely curious. All right, so that was March. What is it? March 24th, I think, is what it said.
March 25th.
That's weird. It's not even on. Is this year's schedule? Yeah, it's this year's schedule. It's not even on their schedule.
That's weird.
That is weird because they have March 22nd at Arizona and then April 2nd at Kansas. Is this all games?
It may just be conference games.
They just have conference games on here. Yeah, you're right. They haven't filled in their out of conference stuff. Okay. Well, no problem. All right. Well, let's wrap it on that. Should be an exciting week. We should start hearing some rumors about State's probable or possible bowl game destinations. There's some stuff out there for the Gasparilla, the Fenway. Dukes is even on the list, which is kind of a little bit surprising to me. And then the Sun Bowl has been mentioned as well. And I think if you're a State fan trying to get to a game, obviously Dukes is probably your priority. I don't know how many people would travel to Fenway up in Boston for a game, but that would be kind of neat to watch a football
game. And also
game.
it's like as a Red Sox fan, it's Boston in December. I'm not sure how good it's going to be at that time of the year.
Agreed. The Sun Bowl is the best possible payout for State as from the bowls that have been listed so far. But that's El Paso, Texas.
It's the last bowl State won.
Yeah, it is. Yep, in 2017 we destroyed. In fact, Arizona State, I believe, was the opponent in that game, and we beat them pretty handily. Gasparilla wouldn't be bad. That's at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. So Tampa in December is probably a nice little getaway, and you can make a side trip to Disney or Busch Gardens, SeaWorld, whatever you like down there. There's plenty of things within an hour or so drive. I think State would kind of travel pretty decently for that, and it's before Christmas, which is always nice to go to a bowl game before Christmas. With regards to that, you get a better turnout. Be part of people's Christmas gifts. But we shall see. We should get an official invite on Sunday. Though you may start.
It'll be after the playoff bracket drops because they got to get all those conference alignment stuff.
Right, and there's even more teams now going to the playoffs, so that'll bump people all around, and it makes it even more. Remember last year, State was one of the last bowl games, mentioned. It took a minute for us to find out we were going to the Military Bowl. That one was one of the last ones to be okay, this is where State's ending up, because they were fighting over a couple of different teams going to a couple of different bowls. So yeah, that was fun. Hopefully we don't have a repeat of that this year. But so yeah, we'll get that on Sunday, and let's get some couple wins this week in basketball, and get a win on Friday for soccer. I can't imagine the turnout at Cary if State were to make it there. I think it would be unbelievable, the atmosphere for NC State soccer to play in the soccer or the College Cup. But got to win them first. All right, Wolfpack Nation, that will end our week this week. Again, appreciate everyone tuning in on a random Tuesday. We definitely appreciate the support. If you're enjoying our podcast, you can definitely go out to find us on all the different platforms. So wherever you consume your podcasts, feel free to go grab them there. And if you feel obliged to leave us a review, we would greatly appreciate it. So, all right, Wolfpack, we'll see you next Monday. Have a great week, and always go Pack.